into his recliner to watch the Sunday night football game while I cleaned up the kitchen. Every ordinary domestic action felt surreal, like I was performing in a play where only I knew the tragic ending. Loading the dishwasher, wiping down the counters, putting away leftovers that Wayne thought I'd never eat. That night, I lay awake beside him in our king-sized bed, listening to his peaceful, rhythmic breathing while staring at the ceiling fan spinning slowly overhead. How could he sleep so soundly while planning to murder his wife? How could his conscience be so clear? I studied his face in the pale moonlight streaming through our bedroom windows. The same face I'd kissed goodnight for over 2 decades. The face I'd memorized in every mood and expression. When had he stopped loving me? When had I transformed from his partner into an obstacle worth eliminating? Had there been signs I'd missed? Red flags I'd ignored in my trusting naivety? I thought back over recent months, searching for clues I might have dismissed. Wayne had been working longer hours, claiming the construction business was booming. He'd been more interested in our finances lately, asking detailed questions about my teacher's pension and the life insurance policies we'd taken out years ago. He'd encouraged me to maintain my routines, particularly my Wednesday visits to Vera, always asking about my exact departure and arrival times. I'd attributed all of this to normal life changes, a successful business, responsible financial planning, caring concern for my well-being. Now I saw it all as evidence of a calculated plan to murder me. The questions tormented me through the longest night of my life. The next morning, Wayne was unusually attentive in a way that now felt sinister. He brought me coffee in bed, perfectly prepared with 2 sugars and a splash of cream just the way I liked it. He kissed my forehead and told me he loved me, his performance so flawless it would have fooled anyone who hadn't overheard that phone call. "I've got a really long day ahead of me," he said, straightening his navy work shirt and checking his appearance in our dresser mirror. "The Henderson renovation is behind schedule, and we've got that inspection coming up Thursday. Might be working late tonight on the electrical issues." Working late, right. He'd be working late sabotaging my brake lines. "Of course, honey," I said, sitting up in bed and smiling at him. "I'll probably read for a while after book club anyway." That new mystery novel Patricia recommended. "What time does book club usually end?" he asked casually, as if he didn't already know my schedule by heart. "Around 10, sometimes 10:30 if we get really into the discussion," I replied, noting how he nodded with satisfaction. After he left for work, I sat alone in our kitchen, surrounded by 22 years of accumulated memories. Wedding photos magnetted to the refrigerator showing us young and radiant and hopelessly in love. His favorite coffee mug sitting next to mine in the sink, still stained with this morning's coffee. The ceramic owl figurine I'd bought him for our 10th anniversary, perched on the windowsill where it had watched over us through countless ordinary mornings just like this one. Everything looked normal, everything looked safe, but underneath the familiar domestic tranquility, I could feel the foundation of my entire life crumbling. I had 2 choices: run or fight. Running meant abandoning everything. Our home, my job at the county library where I'd worked for 15 years, my life here, my sister who depended on our weekly visits to help her cope with her own grief and depression following our mother's death. It meant liquidating whatever assets I could access, draining our joint checking account, and disappearing into anonymity somewhere Wayne could never find me. It meant living in constant fear, always looking over my shoulder, never knowing if he would track me down and find another way to finish what he'd started. Fighting meant staying and trying to outsmart a man who apparently thought I was too naive and trusting to survive without him. It meant gathering evidence, involving law enforcement, and risking everything on the hope that the justice system would protect me from my own husband. I chose to fight. But first, I needed proof. Something more substantial than an overheard phone conversation that could be dismissed as a misunderstanding or taken out of context. I spent the morning systematically searching Wayne's home office, looking through his files, his computer, his desk drawers, anywhere he might have left evidence of his